What's up, everybody? Well, I got another gameplay video for you guys today, and today we're going to finish up Assassin's Creed Odyssey at 4K. Now, I don't think it's going to be able to do it maxed out, or maybe even on very high, but I think it should be able to do 60 FPS all the way up to high. Hell, it might even surprise me and do everything up to 1 away from maxed, but hell, we won't find out sitting here talking, so let's jump into some settings. Alright, starting off 4K with a quick look at our display settings. We're only going to show a screen once, because we're not changing anything here, but it's at native 4K, we're not lowering or increasing the resolution, normal refresh rate, no VSync, no FPS limit, and the HDR and all that doesn't work on this TV, so let's move on. Alright, low settings up first here. Let us have a quick scroll through all of them. And I wonder how far we'll be able to get before it drops under 60 on 4K. Can we get to the end? I doubt it, since it was already dropping below 60 a little at Ultra, on Ultra Wide. Anyway, let's go run a benchmark now and find out how it does. Alright, so benchmark's all done. We averaged 86 FPS with a minimum of 28 and a max of 115. Here's our system info right there. And our game settings right here. And then here is our frame times. So now let's go jump into the gameplay. Alright, starting off 4K. Man, at 4K you can really see just how much load takes away from the game. Which is the exact reason I don't like toning down settings that much on 4K, because 4K just helps you see the fine details of everything, and if there's no fine let's try that again. If there are no fine details, I mean, what's the point of the 4K? And then why are you giving up all these frames, you know? Now, a lot of people would have just gone and edited that little beach mix out there out, but I don't really give a shit. Some people get tongue-tied, especially if you smoke a shit ton of weed like I do. Shit. Surprised I can even speak the human language anymore. And we've almost made it to our lighthouse stopping point. If I can figure out how to get up there, there we go. Let's look over the water like we usually do real quick. And now let's move on. Okay guys, starting off 4K here, camera recorded on high. Or on low, I mean. Why the hell would we start on high? Don't mind me, I am high. Ha ha. So let's take our horse through, I guess what you could call some scenery, but they took away like all of our grass and whatnot on low, so it does not really look that great. But I mean, at least you get lots of FPS even at 4K, but I guess it's easy when there's not as much graphics to really matter. I'm very curious if we can at least get up to high, possibly very high, without dropping under 60 through town here. There we go. Now we can run back up to our little lookout. Over the sea. Over the sea. Alright, what do we got? Gotta follow these guys. Oh, nope, they're going back the other way. Alright, well, peace out, guys. They're gonna go back to the field now that I run and probably go back to grazing. And there we go, we've made it to our little stopping point. Let's just look out at the sea and move on. Now let's have a fast look at the medium settings now. Man, I'm gonna be hearing this song in my head for a while. That's what always happens whenever I benchmark a game that's got music, since I hear the menu music so much. It's just like, it's stuck in my head. Anyway though, No time for that. It's time for a benchmark though. Medium benchmark's all finished. Looks like we averaged 72 FPS this time, with a minimum of 37 and a max of 97. Huh, they all had a 7 in them. Interesting. Anyway, system info right there. And then we got our game settings right here. And then last up, we have our frame times over here. So now, why don't we go see how it does in an actual game. Now it's time for us to move on to medium. And so far, we're still staying above 60. We haven't gotten too much into town yet, but barely. We got down to 65 for a second there. I didn't really have time to pay attention to this when I was actually making the video. But now that I'm just doing the voiceover work, it's way easier to pay attention to all these things. And then I get irritated when I notice something I could have obviously found or solved. But, I mean, at this point, it's like having 4 eyes on it, so you can't do that when you're just playing it live. You can rack your own brain, but it's not like you can sprout 2 extra eyes to look in 4 places at once, right? Huh. Bunch of rain. Big old thunderhead over there, too. Helionimbus clouds, after all. And now let's hop on up here. Just look on about. Somehow float my 1 foot off the ledge there, because I'm magical like that. And now, let's move on. Well, now we got ourselves some medium 4K gameplay. So let's go hop on our horse, of course. And we will run over to the town. Dodge the dude and all of his goats this time. Alright, now let's run through real quick. And when we were going through here, it was getting down to like 64 while I was recording. Seemed like 68 is all it got down to this time. We'll see though, we haven't completed the whole trek around the city yet. Well, mini city, here's more like a little town. It's got like 1 building. Alright, now let's hop on down and head on over to our little cove spot. But of course we have to go past our little weird goat friends. I call them goats, I know there's something more complicated than goats, but they look like they're from the same family at least. Yeah. Didn't sleep too good last night. Had a bunch of big old storms. Kept waking me up as soon as one would pass and I could sleep up. Another one would come and wake me up like 10, 20 minutes later. And I was like, motherfucker. But whatever, I'm still up and making you guys vids. And now we'll look over the water. And now it's time to move on. The time of high settings is upon us. So let us look at all the settings really fast before doing that benchmark. Had to go back a little there. I scrolled down too quick. Anyway, let's move on. Now the high benchmark just got done. We averaged 60 according to it. A minimum of 35. Max of 88. System info. And then game settings. And then there's our frame times. So now let's go right into the game. Here we are in some high gameplay now. Oh, I almost went off in the wrong direction there. Oh, the dog wants to run again. Alright, let's go, dog. Oh, you're already peacing out? Well, alright. Wow, according to Audacity, I have 333 hours and 45 minutes of disk space allowing me to record. Man, that's a long time. I don't think anybody could sit there for that long in one sitting. Alright, let's run across this field. So far, so good. We're getting some pretty good FPS. I mean, we dropped to like 59, I think, at one point there. I might have missed lower than that, but that's all I saw. But I've also just been sitting here looking and enjoying the view. I haven't had my eye glued to the frame rate counter by any means, but looks like you can get up to about high before you start getting like way under 60 or anything, so that's pretty cool for an Assassin's Creed game at 4K, even if it is a little older. Yeah, still though, I was expecting it to get a little bit more. But let's move on. Well, now we've moved on to some high camera recorded gameplay here. And we are definitely dropping under 60 at times. Not by too much, mind you, but we're still dropping under it at certain points already. But I would still consider high completely playable. It's not like we're dropping by much. It was like to 58, 57 kind of stuff. I would never notice that without this frame rate counter. See, there you go, 58, 59. Now let's go run through town real quick. We hit 57 there for a little bit. But yeah, again, I don't think I'd notice that without this frame rate counter. So 4K for being playable and getting good, like close to 60. I would say stop at high here. It still looks great, runs pretty damn good, only drops below 60 every once in a blue moon. I have a feeling very high and ultra high, or we're going to drop pretty low under 60. We're probably going to be in like, for the next one's probably going to be in the low 50s, and then ultra high is probably going to be in the mid to low 40s. I could be wrong, but we will see shortly. Alright though, let's run on over to our little sea lookout here. Whoa, almost fell off the edge that time. And alright, let's move on. Alright, very high settings time. So let's scroll down here a little bit more. Had to go back up a little. Sometimes it's a little hard to scroll with this Zeiss Rail mouse compared to my final mouse. Anyway, let us move on. Well, according to the benchmark anyway, we're going to be way under 60 because we got 51 average, minimum of 32, and a max of 79. Here's our system info right here. And our game settings right there. And our frame times right here. So now let's go see how this does in an actual game. Now we're on to very high gameplay. And yeah, we're nowhere near 60 at all. High 40s right now. So yeah, me personally, I would stop at high if you wanted to play this game at 4K. Still though, I thought we would be getting a lot more than this considering its age. And considering Valhalla gets more frames than this, I think. I could be wrong, but Valhalla seemed to run better than this game. And I mean, it should run better because it's a newer game, but it should be harder to run is what I'm saying. Because it's not like this laptop is the fastest computer or laptop in the entire world. It's up there, though. At least if you go to an external monitor, it's right next to a frickin' 3080. Now, when it's by itself, it's basically a 3070 Ti. Except in ray tracing games, that's where the 3070 and 3070 Ti will pull way ahead, and the 3080 will just completely destroy it. But none of these things are anywhere near their desktop counterparts. They really should have called this thing a 6700M, but they already named something else that, so they couldn't. But they did that to themselves. Same thing with Nvidia. They're nowhere near their like desktop counterparts. Anyway, though, let's just look around here real fast. And now, let's move on. Well, now we are on very high. And as you can see, we are quite a bit under 60, as I thought. Out here, we're in the low 50s, but once we're in town, we're actually in the high 40s. At least while we're recording. Let's see if that has changed at all. Oh, out of my way, cranes. Alright, we made it back to town. But yeah, high 40s. Yep, 50, 49, 48. So still right around 50, low 50s. Well, I think that lion's running amok again. That's a problem with having a pet lion, I guess. You never know when it might want to, you know, be a lion and eat things. Alright, we're getting pretty close to our lookout, lighthouse, overlay, view, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. The thing we look out at the water on. We're almost there, so. Hey, and there's another one of those little tiny ships. Anyway, let's just look left and right real quick. And there we go. Let's move on. Now let's do some ultra high, which is maxed out for this game. So we'll just go through all the settings. See all of the different things here are completely all the way to the right. And there we go. Now let's go see how it does in the benchmark. Well, here's how it did at the Ultra. I've got 45 average with a minimum of 32 and a max of 71. System info right here. And then our game settings are down here. And last up, our frame times right here. So now, into the game. Now we're into some ultra high gameplay. And yeah, we're getting really similar frames to what we got before, but we're definitely getting a couple lower. Well, it looks like we're almost to our little stopping point up here. Well, at least we're way above 30 FPS. And we can hit close, and we can hit 60 looking out at the water sometimes. Anyway, though, let's move on. Well, now we are on ultra high. And we're getting about 50-ish FPS out here. But once we get into town, let's see how it fares now that we're not recording. I think the benchmark said we averaged 45 or something like that. Oh, is that lion? Yep. Lion's running amok, killing everybody. Alright, cool. He's off up there being a lion. So we'll just let the lion be a lion. And it seems like everybody else is just going about their day too. Still in the low 50s. I think we dropped to like 48 once or twice. Yeah, there we go. Now let's run back to our lookout up here. Alright, we are almost there. The lighthouse of the father of Ajax. And alright, why don't we wrap this video on up now? Well, alright guys, that is a wrap for 4K and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And it did alright until we got to medium, but after that, not so playable anymore. Not like super playable. We dropped under 60. I think high stayed around 60-ish, but very high and ultra high were just like no. We're low 40s or like mid 40s and high like low 50s, I believe it was. Anyway though, don't know why this game doesn't get more FPS. It's kind of older and it should, but it doesn't. Very peculiar. Kind of want to go run it on my main computer just to see how it runs. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And until the next one, peace out, guys.